Almost 100 years in the customs brokerage business. That's something. And what do we have to say? At Wilson, we feel our story speaks for itself because our story is your story. You see, Wilson was there. In 1918, as the Allies and Germany signed the armistice to end World War I, and Canadian troops return home, a passionate entrepreneur named William F. Wilson opens the first Wilson office at Ferry Landing in Fort Erie, Ontario. As flappers danced through the roaring 20s, Wilson continued to expand business, servicing customers further and further into the United States to meet the growing demands of our expanding list of clients. Years later, the country struggled through the cusp of the Great Depression. We pressed onward. In 1965, we opened our office in Niagara Falls, Ontario, and celebrated by throwing on our favorite 45 RPM record. Remember? Before we had CDs or iTunes? Wilson was there as the Beatles and the British invasion took over the world. 1968 saw Wilson acquire W.H. Adams Limited, expanding our services even further to the Ambassador Bridge and the Windsor-Detroit Tunnel. Yes, business was booming. In 1973, Wilson opened up yet another office at Bluewater Bridge in Sarnia, Ontario. While others took a break to kick around the hacky sack or play Atari's newly invented Pong, that same year, Martin Cooper and his team at Motorola were busy developing something they didn't know would change the world: the very first cell phone. Developments in technology were making the world a smaller place. The early 1980s provided us with new, helpful tools thanks to the birth of MS-DOS, the IBM PC, and the Apple Macintosh. With these advancements, Wilson was able to establish its international forwarding business for truck and international freight by 1986. In 1987, as the first episodes of The Simpsons aired on The Tracy Ullman Show, Wilson continued to grow and expand, opening up offices in Niagara Falls, New York, Buffalo, New York, Detroit, Michigan, and Port Huron, Michigan. But in 1990, Mr. Tim Berners-Lee invented something that would change our lives, a little thing called the World Wide Web. That same year, Wilson launched electronic processing of entries and transmission to customs. In 1998, we witnessed the creation of Google. Little did we know what a big deal that was. At Wilson, our big deal was constant growth and change that saw us establish our new international headquarters in Mississauga, Ontario. Wilson was there when Y2K came. Sadly, the beginning of the new millennium was not marked by Y2K, but by the ominous events of September 11, 2001. In accordance with our continued drive and passion for excellence, Wilson became certified under CTPAT, the Customs Trade Partnership Against Terrorism, as well as PIP, Partners in Protection, by 2003, always placing the safety and security of our clients' supply chain first. As more and more of our clients took to the online world of social networking with the creation of Facebook, in 2005, Wilson unveiled the Customers Portal, providing clients with easy online access to key customs transaction information. 2 years later, in 2007, we introduced a new web electronic system, reducing data entry time for customs paperwork and shortening clearance times. In doing so, we also saved a lot from going to the paper mill. You're welcome. That same year, we opened a dedicated customer service center in Stony Creek, Ontario, to handle all inbound and outbound service calls. In 2008, Wilson took things to a whole new level, merging our international freight forwarding division with Green Global Logistics, creating Wilson Green Logistics, offering smooth and flexible trucking, international freight, warehousing, and distribution services. Moving ahead from our merger, in 2009 we released remote location filing for U.S. Customs. This allowed us to release goods across the U.S. without a U.S. office or port. More goods to more locations, faster. In 2011, we deployed an electronic content management system to handle our information more efficiently and get it to our customers even faster.
Concern when people talk about length of service, you've been around for 100 years. What people are afraid of is that you're not innovating, right? You are not up to date. You're not paying attention to what's going on. You're slow to react. Whatever it can be that can be construed by being 90 plus years old. We tend to look at it from the strength of that side. We're financially stable. We have continued to service our customers. We continue to grow. There's a lot of positives that come along with operating for over 90 years. We've got employees who've been with us 30 years. We've got some retirees who spent 45 years with us. So almost half of our existence, we've got people who've worked for us. So, that's what we tend to take away from history.
Wilson was there. Wilson will always be there. And it's our continued drive and passion that allows us to be there for you and provide unmatched service across borders. This is Wilson. This is our story.